Three, two, one. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marcus Julian Carbo here at the TCMW studios in Philadelphia, brought to you by Tai Chi Fit International. If you were there for the 2 or 3 seconds that we were live streaming before, you ever have that moment where you're on the phone and the operator asks, "Is it plugged in?" Well, I just had that moment happen. We didn't have our audio equipment plugged in, so we weren't getting any audio. So, there's a reason for that. Yeah, that's right. We just got done the Funky Flow Friday here at TCWM Studio. So I want to thank all of my vets who came out to hang out with me, all of the instructors, Gurney and Maureen, who hung out with me as well throughout that class. It was a good, fun class. And last class for me for about a week. We're going to take next week off so that I can recoup and relax and sort of refill the water in my well, as it were. But don't worry, Chicast is coming right back after next week. And we just had our huge rollout, right? We've been meeting all of the Tai Chi for veteran instructors over the last month. There's still a few of them out there that you're going to meet, and we're going to bring a bunch of them back because they were such amazing interviews that we want to definitely give them more time to shine and get more stuff and exposure and yada, 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 so that you guys know who they are, so that you know where they're teaching, so that you can join. It'll be a thing. It'll be lots of fun. That's all I'm saying, right? But what we're going to do once I come back, we're going to go to our normal streaming schedule, which will be Monday and Friday, Monday at 10, Friday at 10:30 after class. And yeah, that's really all there is. And then we're pushing forward. But the big news of today, is the New Me Through Tai Chi campaign. Hashtag New Me Tai Chi. Hashtag is in the title of this live stream. All right. So the idea here is you're going to share hashtag New Me Tai Chi in all your posts. Well, all your appropriate posts. If you want to show us your Tai Chi moves, if you want to show us your golf swing, if you want to just show us hanging out with your family, New Me Through Tai Chi. Also, getting the Tai Chi Fit icon, which went out last night. If you're a part of the Tai Chi Fit network, went out last night to everyone's emails. If you're not, head over to taichifit.net, sign up for the newsletter, get on that list so you can get the details, all the dirty details of the contest, because boy, do we have a special contest for you. We're going to be giving away a brand new, freshly minted New Me Tai Chi Fit t-shirt. We'll be giving that away. We're also going to be giving away a DVD, a Tai Chi Fit DVD for you to practice at home. And out of the library, the litany of available DVDs from the Tai Chi Fit library, you will have your pick of the litter. But if you're wondering what you should get your friendly neighborhood Chicast host for Christmas, I'm just saying, I'm easy to find. You can tell me what DVD you want below in the comments that you want to get me, right? Otherwise, check out the library. And finally, last but certainly not least, 30-minute session with the man, the myth, the legend himself, David Dorian Ross. You get to hang out with him 30 minutes, do some like serious Tai Chi. And let me tell you, like, I have had the opportunity to do real Tai Chi with David Dorian Ross, and it is phenomenal. Phenomenal. 30 seconds, 30 minutes, it doesn't matter. It is phenomenal. This is one of the few times that there was that sort of awakening moment. And when you start to move in your Tai Chi career, or any career, quite frankly, right, you have less and less aha moments. That's what that means. And these moments are things that sort of change your perspective on how you approach your discipline. Well, in the few times that I've had, and they've just been a handful, that I've actually had the opportunity to do some traditional Tai Chi with David Dorian Ross, man, each time was like, wow. And it changed the way that I approached Tai Chi, from my stances to my level of relaxation, to recognizing when one is moving within yin, when one is moving within yang, right? And how to manage those transitions. Now, by no means am I perfect, but but what DDR was able to do was to show me where on the hill we're going, where on the map, and what it looks like, and show me the path to get there. And that was worth every second. So, uh, get in on this. Very simple, very easy. Hashtag new me through Tai Chi. And what we're going to do is just whoever does it the most wins, period. So if you got nothing to do, you're sitting at home, quarantine, trying to figure out what to do on a Friday. Now, obviously, the idea behind this is to grow our community. We have a huge network going coast to coast with veterans from all over the world. And speaking of being all over the world, we got Rick Chamberlain from down in La Florida.
Hey, how's it going,
Well,
Marcus?
I am good, Rick. How are you, brother?
Wonderful. Just trying to
Good to
dodge the
see you.
rain.
Is it
Got
is
one of
it
those.
is it monsoon season down there for you?
Yeah, we got one of those tropical depressions in the Gulf. Keeps washing over. Give you a little chance to go out in the yard, do some work, and then it comes back. Drops the rain heavy. Yeah, lots of fun.
Well, that's good. That's been these tropical depressions have been making a lot of storms for us on the East Coast. We
Yeah,
had some brutal storms over the last 48 hours here in the Northeast. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel your pain. I'm not even trying to compare Northeast to Florida. You guys are pros when it comes to the tropical storms and whatnot.
So what's been going
So
on?
not much. So I was just talking about our new contest that we announced last night, which is New Me Tai Chi, right? Hashtag New Me Tai Chi, which anybody can get in on, including you guys. And the idea is to build our community, right? To get the word out there that to the veterans, to the VA, to the communities that, yeah, you guys are out there making things happen. Come find us, right? And working together to do that. And it dawned on me that this is very Tai Chi like, and Rick is Rick is not a sort of Rick is a traditional Tai Chi guy. In the class that I got to take with him, he wow, it was like an old school class, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. This idea of us working together as a unit, I feel translates perfectly to Tai Chi. Can you talk about for us just a little bit about your experience of moving as one in the body through your Tai Chi?
Sure, sure. Well, I had the privilege to start off my Tai Chi journey through Kung Fu. So,
Ooh.
I learned Kung Fu first, then ended up going into the Tai Chi realm. So, when I first was introduced to Kung Fu, I was also privileged enough that a well-known master, Master Kai, came to Orlando and did a seminar on standing meditation. So, standing meditation became my center, my balance, my root for what was to come later in my Tai Chi. So I'm going to say, yeah, that moving as one, as that wholeness comes from first just letting your body center into those natural energies, letting all that energy settle. And it's hard. This was way back. And I remember feeling like, oh, I'm king of the world. I got these energy channels pumping through me. All my acupuncture points are open, shooting energy out. That's how you feel when this stuff starts happening. You feel like just master of the universe. And it's wonderful, wonderful feeling. But those things can go away in an instant. And I had a life crisis that happened to me that took me out of the martial arts world, out of the qigong world for many years. And when I returned, everybody was then practicing Tai Chi. I came back, after a few years, and my body was like crippled. I could barely walk. I was the old man of the world now. Could barely move. And I'm like, I need to get that feeling again of what I used to feel when I was practicing martial arts and standing meditation and having that centered feeling of connectedness with everything. And yeah, so everybody's learning Tai Chi now. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, let's do some Tai Chi. And And it's wonderful. And when my first Tai Chi instructor was also my Kung Fu instructor as well, very traditional. And he would take us through commencement, and it would be the whole class. That's all we did was commencement. You'd sit there for an hour
Really?
and a half. Yes,
Oh.
really. And it was grueling, so it's good to have that foundation of standing. It'd take us through commencement, and then we'd go reverse through commencement, and we go back through commencement, reverse through commencement, and then little pieces, just working just the first lifting, then the settling down, just that first lifting, then the settling down for 10 minutes. So I don't think a lot of people have that under their belt sometimes when you just hop into a Tai Chi class. Oh, we're flowing. We're instantly doing grasp the sparrow's tail. It's my first class,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
traditionally, you might have 2 years under your belt before you get to single whip, you know. So it's
That is
it's great.
very true. That is absolutely very true. I had something very similar. I was probably doing Tai Chi, I think about 2 years before I saw Grass the Sparrow's Tail. I think you're
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah. Do a lot of ward off.
I was like, what is this movement Sifu's doing up there?
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit. So you have the traditional background, but you're now working within the Tai Chi Fit world, which is different from the traditional approach. What have been
Yeah.
the things that you have found to really work with the Tai Chi Fit method and the differences between traditional and
Sure.
Tai Chi Fit?
Sure. Well, I always wanted to be a teacher, and I always wanted to share this wonderful feeling that I got from the qigong. And I also realized that, not everyone would feel these sensations. It seemed like whenever I would, introduce people to qigong, some would get it and be like, "Wow, I feel it instantly," and other people just like, "No, not working, not working for me. I don't feel anything." And it just made me come to a realization that not everybody's gonna get it, not everybody's gonna understand it. But also, I was part of classes that, you know, in traditional classes, you might end up being the only student. So you would, I had a class, so it was a part of a class one time, and I remember a new student came on, and I'm thinking, this is my escape. I might get out of here. This guy can take my spot, you know? And
Uh,
you do get that sensation because you get overworked. You have somebody that wants to teach you the right, correct manner, and you can't move on to the next. You have this correctly done. And I knew that if I was to share this, there's no way I could do it in this manner, right? It wasn't going
right.
to work. So I'm like, look, I'm not going to teach the Tai Chi form. This is to my Sifus. I'm like, I'm not going to teach the Tai Chi form, but I'm going to go out and I want to teach Qigong. I want to teach Bado Jin. I want to go out and just get people moving. And so that's what I did. And they were okay with that, you know,
Cool.
but they're like, don't be teaching the Tai Chi form until you get that stamped approval. You know what I mean? So I went out and became very successful. Had a lot of people attending classes, and I, started out in the fields, in the parks and recs, and just
Yeah.
going out by myself doing it. And whoever joined in would come in, and you earn your chops a little bit doing that, and it was exciting. So it was always a learning experience. And I would say I was doing this for about 5 years before I met DDR. And then I kind of realized on a larger macrocosm type of wave that he had been doing the same thing, just more publicly and larger presence. But on a microcosm, here I am in my little city doing kind of what he's doing, trying to transform what I've learned from traditional Tai Chi, where I can teach it to the public in a manner that they're going to get. And the one thing I learned was stop talking. You would be in a class, and your Sifu all of a sudden just starts rambling for 15 minutes while you're holding a horse stance or something. You're like, oh my God, when's this guy going to shut up? And everybody's like, they're pissed off. They don't want to do this anymore. They leave the class. They don't want to come back. And so that's when I realized this, stop the talking. And so there was a few times in my traditional classes where, Sifu would be out of town or whatever. And he's like, will you fill in for me? I'd fill in, and I'd be like, look, we're not talking. We're just going to flow. And everybody loved it. They're
Sure.
like, try to get him to stop talking so much when he comes back. And it's like, because people responded to the flow, just the movement, and not having somebody correct you. Because when you're in a class, and you know that your movement's going to get corrected, it's like you get that white coat syndrome. Then you can't do anything right. And then you feel
Right.
like you're at the mercy of your Sifu. And it's like, okay, I'm a doll, put me in the position. And am I doing it right? And it's awkward. And it's good. There's a place for that. But at the same time, you want your freedom. You want to be able to
Sure.
move and to flow.
Absolutely. The experience is so important, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to go back. Like, and I get from the traditional standpoint, like you have to earn the ability to flow because you want to get it right. And
Yeah.
but the experience itself is just an experience. And do you think one, with both of us with traditional backgrounds, the do you think that with the more approachable version of Tai Chi, that more people will stick and stay with it, number one, and more people will ultimately want to know the deeper things behind it?
Yeah. In my own personal classes, I teach many different groups. So I've stopped teaching parks because what I realized when you teach in the parks, you keep reteaching, you
Sure.
know, especially when you want to do a little Tai Chi or whatever, or a little understanding of the depth, people would come in. So then I learned that I had to adapt to just a one system, just moving and flowing. But also, I came to adapt my teaching style to groups. So
Mm,
I have different people that call me up and ask me, I have a group of people. Is 6 people enough to get started for us? I'm like, sure, 6, 8 people, yeah. And then I'll meet up with them, and they have an idea of what they want. And I
right.
have a group of horticulturalists that work at Disney World, and they just want to learn Tai Chi form. That's all they want to learn. So I'm like, sure, let's do the Tai Chi form. And if I do the Badwa Jin and things like that with them, they're like, that's okay, but we don't want that. They
Right.
just want to get into the form. Every week they want to learn a new form. They want to add it to. They want to keep linking, you know.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I have classes like at 55 plus communities where they're like, oh, when I say, hey, let's go through a little form, they're like, oh, no, not that. They just want to move and
Sure.
they just want to keep things going. They don't want to learn any type of, traditional Tai Chi, which, yeah, which I do teach now. I'll teach a little bit of, privately traditional Tai Chi here and there. But
Sure.
overall, I would say I've adapted most of my classes to this like flow type work. Currently, I do teach free at our local library, and this is kind of like my training ground. So when I came back from DDRs in April in Asheville, North Carolina, and learned about the veterans program and trying to get things started and trying to memorize these different combos, I thought, where can I do this at? Who can I test this on? Where can I get get some work in this area? Because I didn't want to overburden my groups with doing different things. They had what they wanted to do. I'm like, we're just going to keep to that. So I started a free class at the local library, and we meet twice a month. And then that's kind of like that place where I can go in and experiment. So I go in
Ah,
with them, and I might do some grasp the sparrow's tail, do some combos, do some single whip, do some part the horse's mane. Doing the progressions, doing all
sure.
the little progressions through it. And so that's been wonderful, to be able to have that experience. And that was kind of like my backup to keep my mind fresh with some of this stuff, because I don't use this every
Sure.
day,
Yeah.
these combos, So to keep this, fresh, that's where I'm at, with the Tai Chi Fit uh, teaching method.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I told a lot of different instructors, and still do, like practice in the classes you're already teaching if it works. Like you have a very, and I commend you on keeping very not strict, but very much a police on your guidance for certain groups. Like I think that's really cool that you've spoken with them, you know what they want, and you're delivering it to them, and that really is the essence of being a Tai Chi instructor by all means. Can you talk a little bit about, because you've got, I'm sure, quite the laundry list of students, what your students are like, what the community you've built is like, and some of the things you've learned from it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I get so many different types of people. I had a women's club uh, of professors, retired professors from University of Central Florida, that contacted me a while back, and all they wanted was a little bit of the philosophy and the history of Tai Chi, and they just wanted to sit in their chairs, 20 ladies, and just have me present a little philosophy and history of Tai Chi to them. And I'm like, that sounds interesting. We could do that, but how about we make it a little interactive too? And during this time, get you guys standing up and doing some of the movement. And they were like, oh yeah, okay, that sounds great. So that went over very well.
Yeah.
And then I had another group that contacted me, and they were all furloughed at the time. This was through Hilton. It was a friend of mine that worked at Hilton, and this was a while back as well. Now they're all back to work, yay!
Yeah.
And I'm out of work with them, but at least during their furlough, they wanted to become centered. They're like, we need to get our thoughts together. We need to get an action plan to how we're going to get back to work. And one of the ladies was a private student of mine from a while back, and she contacted me and said, could we start a Zoom class with my colleagues, and just to get us in a centered state. So with them, I took them through standing meditation and took them through heavenly circuit breathing and things like that. And afterwards, they could have dialogue about their lives. I would just leave the Zoom meeting open. And then it was like their meeting to take place after they had centered themselves, right? So yeah, every class is just so different in the community that's involved with each one. The 55 plus community is so different than the Hilton community or the horticulturalist or the women's club, or just they're all so unique and different that yeah, I tailor everything to what people want. So when the vets class, I started a class here locally, had two people show up, and they're snowbirds, of course, so they're gone now. They're in Pennsylvania, I think. So, you know,
Welcome.
yeah. But it was interesting to get part of that community, because I'm not used to the veterans community myself, and I didn't realize that some of the people I spoke to, including not just them, there was a little hesitation about going to the VA. They
Sure.
they didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, talking to them, they eventually will get these referrals, blah blah blah, and they're like, we'll just pay you. We don't want to go through that hassle. We don't want to deal with it. And I'm like, look, I'm not taking your money. We're doing this for free, but we'll see how things progress along the way. But I seem to get that response with a lot of people that have communicated with me on the phone or through text about, I did a brief advertising, you know, free veteran Tai Chi down at the park, come. And there did seem to be a lot of hesitancy about anyone having to get that referral.
Right,
So,
right, right.
you know,
So
so
yeah, part of the program is the streamlining
yeah,
of the bureaucracy, and that's one thing that we've been working ad nauseum in making sure that it is streamlined for the veterans, for the instructors, and for the VA and Optum. So one of the advantages that we have is working in the gristle. I can't put anybody's name out in this forum,
yeah,
but working in the actual milieu of the VA, so that they're guiding us around each corner. When this happens, you want to do this. When that happens, you want to do that. This
yeah,
isn't
that's what I'm looking
required.
for. I can't wait till
Yeah.
it gets to that point where I have a roadmap for them, because I made the
Yes.
mistake going to our local community center VA, and I'm telling him about this. And then he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he's like, this doesn't exist. And I'm like,
Yeah.
he's like, you don't have the roadmap? I'm like, no, I was hoping you had a roadmap. And I'm like, well, here, just if you want to tell people to come to my class, tell them to come, and we'll wait
Sure.
until see what happens,
Sure.
So I can't wait till you know this till it all takes off, and I have an easier method to get people on
Sure.
board and go with it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we had, and we announced last night at the Hangout that the first consult officially went through yesterday. So all of that work and all of that sanding and everything, we finally slid through. And so that blueprint will actually, hopefully, be coming out later today for you guys. So it's an exciting moment in time for the program because this is the
Yeah.
moment we've been waiting for. This really
Yeah.
is the moment we've been waiting for, which is pretty cool. So, have you ever had any cross blending from one venue to another? Because I know that that could be interesting when a student from one class pops into another class.
Yeah, that it is happen. I mean, uh just make it work, I invite people that come to certain private classes to attend my public classes anytime they
Sure.
want, because I'm down to just I have one public class and I don't even advertise this public class. It's
Uh,
just people see me out in the park. I got a little group, and I'm just like, yeah, if you want to pop in and join with us, that's fine. And what happens is if somebody comes in, we might review the basics, and then the other students that were there are like, yeah, I'm glad that we got the chance to review some of the basics and go through things on a more deeper level, because you might go through a set of qigong exercises, and once everybody knows it, you just take it for granted, you're going through it, but then
sure.
you got somebody new pop in, and then you tell them a little bit more about the details, and they're like, oh, I forgot about that. I forgot about that little detail. And so they're like, I'm glad that new person came in. So it
Yeah.
can be good. I always work it so that people feel comfortable, teach to people's level. Don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable ever.
Yeah, that is actually super important for any instructor is that ability to create space. And you actually the Zoom space that you created was pretty cool. I think we've talked about your backgrounds and your setup actually a lot in a lot of our interactions because it's really cool. When you're getting ready to create space or in your preparation to becoming an instructor, how what is your process when it comes to that?
Well, I'm used to teaching live classes.
Sure.
So, you know, it's so weird. You get in some weird situations. You don't always know what your space is going to be like.
Sure.
And I've taught for school boards, and you get it, and they're like, okay, our class is going to be in this janitor's closet. And you're like, what? You got six people, and now you're in a janitor's closet, and you can't breathe.
Sure.
There's weird stuff laying around, but you have to make it work. I'm like, how about we do the Tai Chi in the dark? Let's turn the lights off. Let me talk you through some things, because you can
Uh-huh.
talk through a lot visually using your mind and
Sure.
getting people relaxed and settled. And then, turn those lights slowly. They got the dimmers, turn those lights slowly on, get back used to it. So, I mean, you have to adapt to your space, but my my gosh, I end up in weird situations. Being a mobile Tai Chi person, go to people's homes, you don't know what you're going to get into. You go to somebody's home and they have huge dogs, and the first thing they do is push you in the pool, and you're like, okay, let's figure out how we're going to make Tai Chi work around a pool with two giant dogs attacking me, and so, I mean, I tell people all the time that, yeah, you get yourself into some weird, if you're a mobile person that you don't have a
Sure.
brick and mortar building, you're gonna willing to go out, and you're gonna be willing to go to people's homes, go to people's workspaces, and yeah, it's different. The Zoom, you got more control, but you have to have that fear of, oh, my kid's on Xbox, or both kids are on Xbox. Oh, now I got no bandwidth, glitching out, and I have to
Oh,
go in and
yeah.
yell, turn off those Xbox. So I don't know. Uh, the Zoom is all new, so I'm learning the Zoom with everybody else and adapting to what I have to. But yeah, I've learned to adapt in the outdoors and the indoor spaces. It's crazy.
I since the quarantines and everything have been put in place, I have seen some
Yeah.
hilarious like broadcasts where like children pop in during like some important expose between this reporter and that politician or something of that nature. My cat is
Yes.
always making appearances when I'm doing shows and all that kind of thing. So yeah, the Xbox, the bandwidth. It's funny what we've had to adapt to, but also the strengths that we have found in this particular moment in time. Has your Tai Chi, has your personal practice helped you manage the quarantine, the current moment in history?
Well, surprisingly, that's where I'm at now, because what I realized prior to quarantine is I was spending so much time doing for everyone else and not for myself.
Hmm.
And now I'm realizing, I got to go out and get my standing meditation in the morning. I
Mm.
need a half hour here, a half hour here for myself, because I was just letting my own practice be what I taught.
Yeah.
If I was doing a class, then that was my practice for the day. And it was a bad habit of not doing for myself as an instructor. And I think I even mentioned this when I was up in Asheville to DDR, that I was going through uh, instructor burnout
Yeah.
and not taking care of myself, doing the same thing again and again. And you're like, it gets old sometimes. So you have to, this whole thing gave me a chance to renew my practice and to take care
Mm.
of who I am as a Tai Chi instructor a little bit more. At least it's making me more aware that I need to do it. So that's where I'm at now, hopefully getting back on that road where it felt so good, where you feel like the master of the universe and you're
Uh-huh.
standing in your yard and you can hear birds from 10 miles away, and your hair sticking up on your skin and cheese rolling in the belly. It's a wonderful feeling that takes place alone by yourself in your Tai Chi, you know? Yeah.
When you're doing your personal practice, because I know my personal practice varies widely from my class instruction. What are the big differences between when you're together with just you versus when you're together
Yeah.
with your class? How do you approach your Tai Chi?
I think the number one thing is you move much slower when you're by yourself. You have a big group in front of you, and it's hard to separate the group from you.
Sure.
And if you go at your pace, they just can't do it. The very slow Tai Chi, the way it's meant to be, they just can't do it.
Right.
And then if you go too fast, they can't do that either. You got to find that pace that works with the group,
Right.
and then you become that group pace, and then it messes your Tai Chi up, at least for me. And so
Yeah.
you got to get back out and settle down and go, okay, lift hands isn't like that. Lift hands is slow. Yeah, it takes a little used to. So my go-to is always song gong exercises.
Okay.
That's the go-to. What's gonna relax me in this moment for 30 minutes, slow moving, little effort, and just letting my body absorb into the earth, relax and lift up to heaven. So that's my go-to. I do some form. I have a Sifu that we meet probably once a month on a Sunday, and he's my traditional Sifu. So I do like to meet with him occasionally, because he'll bring me right back down to that moving really slow pace. Yeah, so it's good.
That is fantastic. Uh, Rick, I really thank you for coming out and joining us on the Gcast
Yeah.
here. You are a wealth of information and a great personality to have
Thank you.
on screen. Where can we find you online?
All right. I'm not a big social media fan, as you know, but
Yep.
online you can find me at Aspire Fitness Tai Chi on Facebook and Aspire Fitness Tai Chi at Instagram. Um, Hopefully those sites will get nice over time, and we'll build them up, and we'll get on YouTube, and we'll have a nice little vets place to meet, for the
There
future.
you go.
Yeah.
And a great way just to get information out to your
Yeah.
current students. I mean, I really do lean on social media to let everybody know what
Yeah.
we're doing. And what's been nice, even in the quarantine, is that I can still talk with all my students, even if they're distanced and self quarantining. Because, as you know, our students tend to be older. I don't want to expose them to anything, but I do want to keep in contact with them. So, social media has been great to do just that. We live in a magic world, and you're a part of making that magic. So I want to thank you, not just
Well,
for what
thank
you've
you.
done, but what you do out there. Yeah, with that, hey, listen, have a great weekend. Watch out for those tropical depressions down there.
Exactly, exactly. Trees falling, it's dangerous out there.
Seriously, seriously.
Oh,
Tiger walk carefully. as you're out
yes.
All right. Thank you, Rick Chamberlain,
All
joining us
right, thank you
today
so
from
much.
Florida. on the Cheatcast. Rick, we will have you back here shortly, later in the summer, to talk
Okay.
about see where you are in your progress. Good stuff. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Uh,
Take care, Marcus.
you got it, brother. All right, so that was Rick down from Florida, Central Florida, hanging out with us on the Cheatcast. Rick, one of the great traditional instructors that we have inside the program, and making his way. Listen, our instructors come in all shapes and forms of all experience and types. Tai Chi Fit is not about your house. It's not about your style. It's not about your type of Tai Chi. Tai Chi Fit is about a philosophy of flow, a philosophy of oneness, a philosophy that encompasses everything around you and around that until it is all just like the Tao one. That is what the world needs. Tai Chi Fit is about forging a new world. We are at a crossroads in human history. We are at a fork in the road. And when the quarantines lift, when civilization starts to get back to normal, whatever normal is being decided right now. Normal is not going to be what normal was on March 15th. That's not how that'll work. A new normal will emerge from this. How close that new normal is to March 15th really is determined on many, many factors. The most important factor being you. And the question is, what are you going to do with this opportunity going forward? Are you just going to go back to what you were doing? Or is it time for change? Even if that change is here, just here, right at the heart. Um, because sometimes that's all you need to make the world a better place, right? Be the change that you want to see in the world, that whole stuff. So as you go out, think about that. Think about what does the new world that you want to forge look like? Day one, day two, year one, year two. Doesn't matter. Plenty of time. There's plenty of time. It's all the time you need. All right. There's no countdown clock. There's nothing standing in your way. It's just air and opportunity, as it were. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. So I've been actually looking forward to speaking with Mr. Chamberlain for a while now on the GCast because, as you can see, great personality, great teacher. And the question that you have now is, where are you in your journey? Are you in that moment where you're like, hey, I wanna check this out and get a little deeper? Head over to taijifit.net, right? Check out that Flow subscription and make it happen for yourself, right? Get in deeper. Listen, it's all about you right now. Take care of you, yourself. Just like Rick was talking about in realizing that he needed to take time out of his day. I think a lot of us realize that hustle and bustle, that treadmill that we were all on prior to the events that are going on right now. Yeah, you got off of that thing and you were tired, but in fact addicted to such a degree that you were like, "Can I get back on the treadmill? I'm not running anymore." That means you're healing. It means you're getting a chance to catch your breath. But we get lost in these loops. We really do. These routines that just drive us. Why? Because routines are easy. I'll tell you flat out. While on some levels, being in the military was the hardest thing I've ever done, it was also, in many ways, the easiest thing I've ever done. Because it was so regimented, because everything was scheduled, I knew where I had to be, what I needed to wear, and what I was going to be doing when I got there for 6 years of my life. Every day, I knew exactly what was going to happen, for the most part. And even when I was being spontaneous, it was spontaneous on the Army's time. So there was a lot of planning that would go into those moments of spontaneity. So even those were routine. there wasn't a lot of space for chaos. Certainly, things pop up in the military, just like they do in regular life. They tend to be like historical events, like 9/11. Um, but with that said, coming out in the civilian world and just sort of being cast to the wind, or at least feeling like you're cast to the wind, one of the mistakes that we make in life is just falling into that routine. And because we don't vary it up, it's very easy to just get on that sort of tick tock mode of clock in, clock out, and let the days just kind of pass you by. I am guilty of this. These are things that I work on. With the project that we're doing, that I am very passionate about, I get yelled at all the time by my partner that I'm working too much and that I need to chill out because now I'm working at home. So there's nothing there to tell me to stop, right? Just my passions or my body gives out. But if you're pushing yourself every day to pure exhaustion, well, your body's not recovering. Your body needs time to heal. When you do a workout, you want to give yourself 24 to 48 hours to recover from that workout. Now, that doesn't mean, so for instance, if I do a Tai Chi workout, like I did a Tai Chi workout yesterday, and it was a rough one. It was right. I came in, I was sweating all over the place. And so I'm not going to do another Tai Chi session like that today. Now, we did do a Tai Chi session, but it was a flow session. It was just moving, grooving, doing our thing, getting the body awoke and stretching everything out. Um, I probably won't do Tai Chi tomorrow. Probably go on a bike ride tomorrow. That would be my guess. So I'm relaxing those muscles. Or this morning for my personal workout, I did calisthenics, so arms and chest. So I focused on arms and chest. I will not do that tomorrow. I'll wait till Sunday. So I'll give my body a chance to recover before torturing it again. For torturing it again. Not really torture so much, just in understanding that your body, in order to grow, needs to heal. The growth is the healing, and you have to do both, right? So when you go back into your regular world, that growth, that healing, that is going to be important for you to understand that throughout your day, you need to take breaks. You need to take time for yourself. The reality is, and I may sound a little nihilistic here, but the company that you work for, assuming that what you do is not a passion project, right? It's not what drives you. It's not the reason you get up in the morning. Assuming that you are going to work for a paycheck, to work for a company, to essentially enrich someone else and thereby get something in return, you need to take time for yourself because that company, the corporation, that person, your job will be posted in the want ads before your obituary. But your family will feel your loss forever. So as you're moving through, you want to keep that in mind. What you have, this internal thing, that place that we hug all the time in Tai Chi, that place, that place is important. It's important for you. It's important for me. It's important for everybody that's out there. And when we find ourselves in a state of imbalance, 9 times out of 10, if not 99 out of 100, if not 999 times out of 1,000, we're not taking care of ourselves. We're not taking that time. We're not taking those moments. We're not being true and authentic to who we are. So as you go out and you find imbalance in the world, because there's plenty of it to see if you want, but think about that. Think about where you're balanced. Think about where your optimism is. We can go full on. You can say, COVID, it's terrible. It's hurting the economy. It's making people sick. Or you can look at it as, okay, this was a lesson. This is the lesson one to test how prepared we are for a conflict, for a real, and by real, I mean a reality based conflict. Not, this isn't man made. It may have been encouraged. Zoonotic diseases need interaction with human biology, but we didn't create this. This isn't something that we wrote on a piece of paper or that we caused through actions that were pointed in a different direction. That's not how this got started. This got started because reality realityed. Right? This is just natural zoonotic biological evolution. This is basic. And it's not just going to happen here, it's going to continue to happen um, for as long as we live amongst biological entities. So, as long as we live on this planet, as long as we live amongst each other, these things are going to happen. So, it's a moment of reflection. Now, when you look at the unrest, the civil unrest that is going on in the country right now, you can look at it as, oh, this is crazy. It's all falling apart. Or you can look at it as, well, maybe we're finally waking up. Maybe that imbalance that you've been feeling, that if you're closer to the center, right, if you're closer to the seat where the imbalance is happening, you're going to feel more balanced than someone who is out on the edge, who is really feeling the difference between the imbalance created by one side, right? And if we can shift that, not that big of a deal, but you see how far it's got to move to get to a place of balance. And we don't have right, because right now it's more like this, and we need to get it somewhere here. But if you're not over here, if you're not over all the way on one side and this is down here, so you're around here, this feels a little more balanced, a little more centered. So what you want to make sure is to keep in mind, look both ways. Oh, I see the imbalance. I see where the imbalance is coming from. And I understand my place, my role. That gives you that moment of self-reflection, that chance to just sort of look, oh, well, what role do I play in this? And how can I do my job in this scenario? Right? The Tao Te Ching says the master knows their job, does it, and moves on. And that's what you're looking for in your Tai Chi. Do your job and move on. Move on to the next thing. So you can look at the current unrest and say, oh, it's crazy. Or you can look at it as, all right, civilization's trying to balance itself out. And if you don't see the imbalance, now's the chance to look for it, right? Look for it within yourself, look for it within your region, within your community, and identify it. And once you're aware of it, then the change begins. That's the reality. I mean, looking back through every 12-step program, or every wise person that has ever spoken, self-awareness, pulling back the veil and seeing truth. Plato's allegory of the cave, being able to see things for what they really are. That in and unto itself unlocks a new vision of life. So look deeper, look past the surface, ask one more question, and you'll be surprised the balance that you find in your life, especially as we go back into a world that is wide open, fun, and fancy free. I really hope. And I want you to know that for all that I have said as far as coping and managing through the crises, I'm looking forward to things reopening and not having to social distance anymore and not being home all the time and I am looking forward to this as much as everybody, but I'm also finding the joys in doing this as well. And that's the key to balance, right? Self discovery, discovery of your environment, your strengths, your weaknesses, and everything that makes you whole. That's what we're shooting for as Tai Chi Fit. All right. And that with you, if you're listening to this, you are a part of this family. So join us, right? Join us as we become one of those beacons of light in the world to make it a better place, right? To shine on reality so that we, as a species, as a planet, as an experience that the universe now is having, we can find balance within it and see it for what it is. All right. I'm going to leave you on that little mic drop for our last GCast of the week. We'll be back, not next week, but the week thereafter, Monday and Friday, 10 o'clock on Monday, 10:30 on Friday. We'll have more guests. Maybe you'll just hang out with me. We'll have more guests. We will drive deeper and deeper into the world. We're going to have more guests for longer so that we can get deeper into their psyches. And there are more of our Tai Chi for veterans instructors for you to meet out there. So, yeah, we're not done yet. So, remember, hashtag new me Tai Chi, hashtag NEWME. TAICHI. The hashtag is in the title of this video. Get it on out. All your posts, put it in there. New me Tai Chi. You wanna put a political post up about changing the world? New me Tai Chi. You wanna tell everybody how you lost 5 pounds while you were doing quarantine? New me Tai Chi. You want to tell everybody how you put on 15 pounds since quarantine and you want to get rid of it? New me Tai Chi. That's what you want. All right. It's not just about changing you, it's about changing the world. It's not about a hashtag, it's about making things better and coming out as brave soldiers in a new world. I'm your host, Marcus Julian Carbo, here from TCWM Studios, brought to you by Tai Chi Fit International. I wish you all health, happiness, and harmony. Till I see you again, have a great weekend. Stay home, stay safe, take care.